Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. But I said to you that you have seen me, and yet you do not believe. Everything that the Father gives me will come to me, and anyone who comes to me I will never drive away. For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. And this is the will of him who sent me, that I should lose nothing of all that he has given me, but raise it up on the last day. This is indeed the will of my Father, that all who see the Son and believe in him may have eternal life, and I will raise them up on the last day. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Friends of Jesus, I have invited, as I said today, I've invited Courtney to share this beautiful icon that is behind me here and there. And it is actually the icon of resurrection. It is a beautiful way. Today we're talking in the gospel of Jesus saying, I'm the bread of life. And he's truly the one that gives us life. In that beautiful icon of resurrection, usually when we look at it, we know it's Christ in the middle. But the question might be always, what is he actually doing? What is he actually doing? So right beneath his feet, those would be kind of the X sign. Those would be the doors that actually he would break, the doors of death, of hell, should I put it. And right around it, you see like keys, chains, and so locks and so on. So he literally destroyed death by his own death. And then it says, and to those in the tombs, he gives life and gives us all eternal life. So on the side, he's actually holding by one hand Adam and the other hand Eve. So, and they're literally, when you look at it, they're coming out of coffins. So they were imprisoned by death. And from that point on, that Christ is risen from the dead, the death is destroyed, and he is the one that offers life to Adam and Eve, and then to all of us, to all of humankind, and at the same time, to all of creation. So it's a beautiful way. I just wanted to share that with you, the beautiful icon from the Eastern Catholic Church. And let us continue to pray. The response is, Lord, hear our prayer.
Lord, hear.
For Catholic education, that our Catholic schools may reveal the glory of God in all that they do, we pray to the Lord.
Lord, hear our prayer.
That our Edmonton Catholic schools may fill students with a love for learning and a desire to change the world for the better, we pray to the Lord.
Lord, hear our prayer.
That all our teachers, staff, administrators, and trustees in Edmonton Catholic schools may be strengthened for their important task in our world, we pray to the Lord.
Lord, hear our prayer.
Lord, hear our prayers, and may your help bring us in this present life your gifts and ensure for us eternal gladness through Christ our Lord. Amen. And may the blessing of the Lord be upon you with his grace and love for all of us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Father Julian, for sharing and explaining the beautiful significance of the icon. And of course, Father Julian was with us last night, as was Bishop David, and we had this beautiful celebration, and that's why the Oilers won. So that being said, we'll get on. But Father Julian, you always do share your inspiration and remind us of how our light shines forth in everything that we do. Thank you to you. Moving on to 1.2, I'm honored at this time to call upon Trustee Laura Tiber to please read our land acknowledgement. Go ahead, Trustee Tiber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of Treaty 6 and home of Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 4. We also acknowledge that Inuit and other diverse Indigenous peoples whose ancestors have marked this territory for centuries, a place that has welcomed many peoples from around the world to make their home here. We at Edmonton Catholic Schools commit to restoring and honoring the Truth and Reconciliation's calls to action. We strongly believe that truth must be acknowledged to move forward to reconciliation. Together, we call upon all our collective communities to build a stronger understanding of all peoples who dwell on this land we call home.
Thank you very much, Trustee Tiber. Next on the agenda is 1.3, and as all trustees are present this afternoon, we will note for the record that all trustees are present. Moving on to 1.4, approval of the agenda, and I am looking to approve today's agenda and do recognize Trustee Mutala and Q.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the agenda of our meeting today, April 26th.
Thank you very much. Do you wish to speak to your motion?
No, thank you.
Thank you. And so at this time, no one else in queue, I ask that all trustees please vote. Thank you very much. And as all trustees have voted, you'll notice that the motion is carried and the agenda for today is carried. That being said, we will move on to, 1.5.1, minutes for our regular board meeting of March 22nd, 2023. And I am looking for a trustee to please make this motion. And I do recognize Trustee Harrison Q. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I move that we approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of number 8, 22-23, March 22, 2023.
Thank you very much. Do you wish to speak to your motion?
I do not.
Thank you. And seeing no one else in queue, I'll call the vote at this time, please. And once again, thank you. As all trustees have voted, the motion is carried, and therefore we'll note for the record that the motion to approve the minutes of our March 22nd, 2023 is carried. And moving on to 1.5.2, as there are no matters arising from the minutes, we'll move on to something extremely exciting. 1.6, the Edwin Parr Award. Nicholas Botello. And I'll turn it over to you, Chief Superintendent Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so as Manager of Staffing, soon to be Superintendent of Human Resources in just a few days, Christine Kennard, I would also like to recognize, sitting in our audience, Principal Brad Koshka. So thank you for coming. Over to you.
Thank you, Superintendent Martin. Thank you, Madam Chair. So it's my pleasure to be here today to recognize Nicholas. One of the best parts of our job in human resources is working with our beginning teachers, and when we go out to the universities and we meet with the students, and then when they come and work with our division and are successful, it's just such a joy to see and such a joy to put a face to your name. So it's great to see you here today. So every school board has excellent first-year teachers, teachers who deserve to be recognized for their outstanding efforts by being nominated for the Alberta School Board Association's Edwin Parr Teacher Award. So the Alberta School Boards Association encourages each school board to participate in the process, leading to the selection of the 2023 ASBA Edwin Parr Teacher Award winners. This is an opportunity for principals to recognize a beginning teacher who demonstrates excellent, outstanding skills and performance in their initial year. Each school division may nominate one candidate. To assist us in this, principals are asked to nominate a maximum of one candidate from their school. This teacher should meet the eligibility criteria and have the qualities of an outstanding first-year teacher. A total of 8 applications were received for this year's Edwin Parr Award nominees, and a group of 2 retired principals conducted interviews and nominated Nicholas Botello from Archbishop O'Leary's School. They felt that all school nominees were highly competent and are outstanding first-year teachers, and it was really quite difficult for them to make this decision this year. But Nicholas, you are our nominee. So the selection criteria for the division this year included principal summary remarks, their teacher evaluation, and their interview with the selection committee. The teacher quality standards competencies were used as part of the evaluation and integrated into the interview. Nicholas scored the highest on the rating scale, and he's now eligible to receive a continuous contract with the division. So a little bit about Nicholas. So this comes from Principal Koshka, so thank you for the information on Nicholas. So Nicholas is a first-year teacher at Archbishop O'Leary's School, hired as of August 29th, 2022. He completed his bachelor's degree in biology from Grant MacEwan College in 2020, received his bachelor's of education from the University of Alberta in 2022, with a major in biological sciences and a minor in social sciences. In his summary remarks, Brad Koshka, principal at O'Leary, mentions, Nicholas was given a complex first-year assignment. He was hired to a large urban high school where many of the students in his classes require support with academics, attendance, engagement, and mental health. Nicholas was hired at the end of August with limited notice. It did not take the educational leadership team long to recognize Nick's natural ability with his students, in particular, those who need support, understanding, and relationship above all else. His class quickly became a safe place for all his students. Nick liaised easily with the student support staff within the school. The learning coaches worked with him regularly, and he conferred with administration, Braided Journeys, and the school counselors. Above all else, Nick formed relationships with his students. It was apparent that he would go to every effort to get to know his students and their unique needs, their learning preferences and abilities. Students simply trust him. They appreciate his classes, and they feel worthwhile when in Nick's presence. Nick will have coached 3 teams. It's pretty amazing first-year teaching. His commitment to the community and our athletics program is unmatched. When no one was stepping up to coach or support a wrestling team that was largely reliant on outside coaches, Nick stepped up and built up the program, almost from scratch. He got students interested in record numbers and has done unprecedented things with this group of students. They have done remarkably well. The level of interest likely has something to do with wrestling and a lot to do with the fact that Nick is coaching. School board nominees are forwarded to the zone chair. Each zone then selects one nominee as the zone recipient of the award. Zone 2-3, where ECSD is, will select 2 recipients due to the amalgamation of zones 2 and 3. In total, 6 Edwin Parr Teacher Awards are distributed and recognized at a provincial level by ASBA at its fall general meeting. Each recipient will receive a smartwatch and a framed certificate from ASBA. So congratulations. And now I'll pass it back to Chief Superintendent Martin.
Thank you very much. And so, Madam Chair, it is our recommendation that the Board of Trustees recognizes and celebrates Nicholas Botello as Edmonton Catholic Schools 2023 Edwin Parr Award nominee.
Thank you, Chief Superintendent Martin, and soon-to-be Superintendent Kennard. And congratulations, Nicholas, for your significant contributions to the teaching profession at Archbishop O'Leary High School. What did I say?
Yes, I know.
Which school was that? Yeah, anyway, that being said, as we all know, I have very deep ties to Archbishop O'Leary. And you know, incidentally, did you graduate from there? Yeah, you did you? Archbishop O'Leary. Anyway, on so many levels, Nicholas, we are just so extremely proud of you. And you've even got a standing ovation. We never get standing ovations. So you know what? Whenever we can see people stand, we take full advantage of it. But that being said, we are absolutely ecstatic. And Principal Koshka, the words that you shared about Nicholas really resonated deep with us. So thank you. You know, when you get words like outstanding and appreciation and trust, and you built up 3 what did it say here? You coached 3 teams. No wonder he's keeping you. But that being said, Nicholas, you know, our deepest appreciation and thanks for being an exceptional, outstanding, and extraordinary first-year teacher. You obviously have acquired the gift that it takes many of us many years to acquire. So thank you, and God bless you. And that being said, I do see trustees in queue. So before I read the recommendation, I will turn it over to my colleagues. Okay, thank you so much. Trustee Mutala, you're first in queue. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Congratulations, Nicholas. I'm so glad you survived your first year as a teacher, considering all this complex assignment you had and coaching 3 teams. You have exceeded your role as a first-year teacher in all the areas. And not only did you build strong relationships with your students and staff, trying to meet the needs of all your students, the coaching of 3 teams and building up a wrestling program when no one else wanted to take it on, this is amazing. So just a congratulations and good luck as you continue with our district. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Mutala. Trustee Tiber, you're next in queue. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So first of all, how exciting this is for you. I'm so excited for you. And to be nominated in your first year as a teacher, wow, that's incredible. And you know, it's interesting because I know how hard you probably worked to get to be graduating as a teacher. Then, no, without even taking your foot off the gas, you're jumping into a classroom. From there, you're not only teaching and supporting students, but you're making a huge difference in so many different students' lives just by coaching. And so for that, I'm so thrilled that you've had this opportunity and that you're being recognized for all your hard work because it's not going unnoticed. So congratulations. And yeah, I'm just excited. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Tiber. And next in queue is Trustee Ingle. Go ahead, please.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Congratulations, Nicholas. I really like the way Trustee Matella put it. You not only survived your first year, but you did incredible things. To coach teams in your first year, and well, Mr. Koshka saw you coming, and that's why he's not letting you go. You must have incredible energy, and I'm so happy that you've chosen Edmonton Catholic Schools. Edwin Parr was a superintendent who watched over the years what first-year teachers went through coming. University can't prepare you for it all. And even then, way back in 1964, I think it was, when he started the Edwin Parr Awards, there was what he described as an ever-creeping mandate on teachers. Wow, now look at it. It is an ever-creeping mandate, even when we look from year to year. So I'm humbled by being able to recognize you for this award. The banquet, I think, is on May 26th. Is that correct? And I'm really hoping to be there. And I'm just so proud that I'll be sitting with you at your table. Congratulations on what is just a great accomplishment. Thank you.
She's jumping the gun because we're going to be there too. So this will be a straw. Yeah. It just saying. Thank you, Trustee Ingle. And
There's
next,
room at the table for everyone.
thank you. She's much more Catholic than I am, isn't she?
Oh, yes, nicely done.
Thank you very much, Trustee Ingle. Next in queue is Trustee Harris. Go ahead, please.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm looking at our screen and I'm saying, let your light shine forth, right? And obviously, Nicholas, you're doing that. And I think the sense that I get is that you're an incredible role model for your students as well. So you're going to help them let their light shine forth. What I took from what I heard and from the comments from Principal Koshka, and thanks so much for bringing Nicholas's name forward, and what really resonated for me was the kind of fast on the feet. You were prepared to jump into a situation that was risky for you, right? And yet at the same time, you embraced it. In for a penny, in for a pound, and I love to hear that. I love also to hear the level of collaboration with other support personnel to ensure that you could pull together the pieces to help the students to meet them where they're at. I was really picking up some signals about that as well. Finding the students where they're at, meeting them right there. And what that said to me was a level of humility, right? I don't have all the answers. The room is full of answers. Let me go and find this out. So that willingness to sort of collaborate, bring other people into the picture, all for the betterment of these students, right? So that really resonated very, very deeply with me. The comment about a safe place, for the students, that you're bringing positive energy, and at the same time, this is a place where students can feel safe. So this is amazing, as I say, and with respect to the coaching, the idea that again you were prepared to step up. There's a risk to that, right? But you're prepared to take that risk, calculated risk, and all for the betterment of the students. So I want to express my deepest thanks to you and congratulations. I think that you're a gentleman who will be a great role model for the students. And I just think about, and you and I chatted about this before, how many lives you're going to be touching, for the better over the course of this amazing career that you're going to have following your calling. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Harris. Next in queue is Vice Chair Tuchansky. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I actually have written down here, Chair Palazzo is going to say something about O'Leary, for sure. Congratulations. We do like to celebrate you and then make you a little bit embarrassed by standing up just to show you how important this moment is. It truly is extraordinary, and congratulations. I mean, when I was reading it all, I was overwhelmed with, of course, your generosity of your time, the coaching, the jumping in, the collaborating. All of that is extraordinary, and there's no doubt that you shine there. But what actually really caught me, and I'm surprised my colleague didn't mention it because I was thinking he for sure would, was the two phrases, students simply trust him and they feel worthwhile when in your presence. And I think these students coming off of COVID and the mental health challenges, that actual sentence resonated the most with me. And I thought how much of a gift you are to your students, certainly your staff anyway, with how far you jump in. Excuse me, but your students truly with that. It is absolutely extraordinary, and there is no doubt that you will become overwhelmed with students coming into your classroom looking for your support and your help. So you are a gift to your students, to our families, to us, and we are so grateful that you are with us and overjoyed that you won this award. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Tuchansky. She's right. I am a show-off, but you know, of everything, in all seriousness, Nicholas, of everything that was said here, there's one other trait that you exhibited here today that is extremely speaks to who you are as a human being and your character. When you heard what was being said about you, you went like this, both to the board and to your colleagues and to the staff. And that speaks volumes of who you are as a human being. So thank you, because you're absolutely right. Having a role model and a mentor like you is going to just do so many positive things for our students. So thank you. And in addition to all that, you get a continuous contract. So congratulations. And that being said, I do take great pride in reading the recommendation for the record that the Board of Trustees recognizes and celebrates Nicholas Botello as Edmonton Catholic Schools 2023 Edwin Parr Award nominee. Congratulations, Nicholas, for acquiring pedagogical expertise. Thank you.
Congratulations. Does he get to go home?
And Nicholas, I'm assuming that Chief Superintendent Martin is going to suggest that you and Principal Koshka not stay for the remainder of the meeting unless you want to, but I will turn it over to Chief Superintendent Martin, and then we'll move forward from there.
Your pleasure. Stay or leave.
I'll make the decision for you. Leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicholas.
See you on the 26th.
Okay, thank you all. And so at this time, we will now move on to number 2 on the agenda, business of the meeting 2.1, be an upstander program, and over to you, Chief Superintendent Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And as Superintendent Lynette Anderson approaches the mic, I would like to also recognize Principal Jackie Flynn from Sister Nada Brockman. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Trustees, and Chief Superintendent Martin.
Off.
No, we just. Can you hear me now? Oh, perfect. I'll start over. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Trustees, and Chief Superintendent Martin. I'm delighted to share with you today an exciting learning opportunity our staffs and students experienced this year. ECSD teacher Sarah Adamako Ansa has been on secondment working at the Canadian Museum of Human Rights for the last 2 years. Through this connection with the CMRH, we learned about the Be an Upstander school program, which encourages students to use a project-based inquiry approach and take action on human rights. The EDIAR team has supported this partnership to bring a Be an Upstander program to Edmonton Catholic Schools, and we are proud to host the first ever Alberta Be an Upstander showcase. What is exciting about this project is that it provides a clear example of student growth and achievement in the realm of equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism. Today, to share more about this exciting learning opportunity for our students, is Manager of Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Anti-Racism, Gina Douse, and Sarah Adamako Ansa.
Thank you, Superintendent Anderson, and good afternoon. Last March, I was able to attend a virtual tour of the Canadian Museum of Human Rights and learned about the Be an Upstander program at that time. Then in May of 2022, I was fortunate to be invited to travel to Winnipeg to visit the museum in person. Principal Jackie Flynn was very interested in the Be an Upstander program for her school as the next step in their EDIAR journey as a school community. So Jackie and I took a very quick trip to Winnipeg, and if you have not had a chance to visit the museum, I cannot recommend it enough. While we were there, we were able to attend the Upstander Showcase. We had the opportunity to interact with students and to listen to them speak about their Be an Upstander projects and the learning that they had done along the way. It was a spectacular opportunity, to say the least.
The Upstander Showcase is an opportunity for students to display work or projects and interact with the public to share about their work and their ideas surrounding human rights. The best way to think of it is that it's set up similar to a science fair, but all of the booths and exhibits that you see are about different human rights topics. All of the showcase projects include the following elements. There's a visual or artistic or interactive element, and past projects have included displays, works of art, infographics, interactive activities, short films, songs, podcasts. I could go on and on. There's also an information aspect to create awareness and engage the public about a current human rights topic or issue. And there are talking points for students to be able to share with the public, a more genuine audience, about their work and their action for human rights and social justice.
We can make several connections with the Be an Upstander Showcase and Catholic social teaching. Life and dignity of the human person, call to family, community and participation, preferential option for the poor, care for God's creation, the dignity of work and rights of workers, solidarity, and in particular, rights and responsibilities. The Catholic tradition teaches that human dignity can be protected and a healthy community can be achieved only if human rights are protected and responsibilities are met. The Be an Upstander program and showcase provides students with an opportunity to explore human rights and take action to turn injustice towards justice. We can also make several connections with our EDIAR strategic plan. The learning that happened as students prepared their projects helps to grow equitable education. Many of the topics focus on addressing discrimination, and naturally there is a fit with increasing representation and celebrating inclusion.
One of the biggest questions that teachers had as I started to implement this program at the 3 schools that I worked at this year was about the program of studies. It's something very important that as teachers, we're connecting everything we do in the classroom back to the program of studies. And to ensure that this project would be worthy of an add-on to the curriculum and made sure that it was current for students, I spent an afternoon connecting this program to every outcome in social studies, English language arts, and religion. Those are the 3 most natural ties to this program, but there's nothing that says you couldn't tie this to music or to art or science or mathematics. This was done with grades 5 through 9, which are the target grades, but the main purpose was to help teachers see where this would fit within these 3 subject areas for their planning and assessment purposes. In my findings, a lot of the outcomes were similar and allowed for flexibility in where teachers took their teaching. The most common threads were in current events, media literacy, research, and faith's role in respecting diversity and God's call for us to serve. Stay. St. Pius Elementary School is one of the first schools that I approached to pilot this program, and there were students in grades 5 and 6 that took part in this project. The students worked from the end of January until the end of March, learning about justice, othering, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the rights of children in Canada. From there, they were able to focus on a particular issue in the world that they were passionate about fixing. The conversations that happened with the students were impactful, meaningful, and personal. The teachers were able to see quite a few aha moments in the students as they went through the project. Some of the topics students explored included environmental rights, the Black Lives Matter movement around the world, misogyny, internet safety, immigration, and many more. Holy Family is the second school that I had the opportunity to work with. In grades 5 through 8, their students participated in the Be an Upstander program. They began their journey as a whole group in the gym, working together through provocations presented by their teachers. Some of the provocations included, "But I'm just a kid, how can I make an impact? Can art change the world? What are our responsibilities as citizens to ensure human rights are upheld?" The students worked together to respond to each provocation, and this helped them to move forward together in the development of their projects. Again, there are some photos up on the screen. I forgot to draw your attention to the St. Pius slide, I apologize. But there are pictures of students that are working on their projects. Last but not least, I had the opportunity to attend and work with Sister Nada Brockman Elementary Junior High. And one of the most unique things about Sister Nada Brockman is the Equity Gallery that is in the foyer of the school. It envelopes your thoughts immediately upon entry and shows that every student has this important work at the forefront of their mind. And they do this through their collaboration and their work each day. Although this program is currently designed for a middle years audience, 3 lead teachers at their school created slides for students in kindergarten through grade 4, grades 5 through 8, and for grade 9. This program began right after Christmas break for each and every student in the school. As a school, they began with virtual field trips to help students understand more about the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, why it exists, and what they would be doing together as a school community. From there, dedicated time each week was built into every teacher's timetable so that they could explore the resources and dive into rich learning opportunities. A total of 142 projects were done at Sister Nada Brockman, an outstanding display of authentic student learning. Some of the topics explored from kindergarten through grade 9 included how to be a friend, food scarcity, disability rights, gun violence, child labor, sweatshops, mental health, and more. Now, one of the things that I'm most excited and proud about in my work at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights over the past couple of years is the ability to bring programs like this into Edmonton Catholic schools across our city. I'm very excited that tomorrow here at Lumen Christi we'll be hosting the very first ever Be an Upstander showcase. Typically it's annual in Winnipeg, but we are so lucky and excited that this is the very first one on the west side of the country. So I'm really pumped and I hope you are too. It'll be a wonderful afternoon celebrating everything that the students from St. Pius X, Holy Family, and Sister Nada Brockman have learned about standing up for human rights. I hope you'll join me here tomorrow to connect with our students about the rich learning that they have done. And on the screen, you'll see all the necessary information, but it is an open gallery, so you're able to walk through and speak with the students and connect with them on that level as well. Before moving to our final slide, we're going to introduce a bit of a video.
We have just a short video that highlights St. Pius X School and their students at their school showcase.
My name is Sarah Adamako-Ansa, and I'm the current educator in residence at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, but I'm also a teacher with Edmonton Catholic Schools. Today at St. Pius X, we are hosting our Be an Upstander showcase. The students have worked for the past couple of months learning about human rights issues.
Our presentation is going to be about what mental abuse looks like and feels like.
Oftentimes students feel like you need to have social status or money or something to be able to create positive change. And this project has helped them see that you don't necessarily need all those things, you just need an idea. And students have been able to roll with their idea and create just incredible showcase projects of how to make the future better.
I'm Elira from grade 6.
I'm Julia from grade 6.
And I'm Deslin from grade 6.
So our project is about misogyny. We've seen a lot of misogyny in our lives, like either we experienced it or we witnessed it, and we always wanted to talk about it with people. So when we got the opportunity to talk about it and present about it, we knew that it was always our first choice. So that's what we did.
My name is Amanda Passmore, and I teach grade 5 at St. Pius X Elementary School. There's an authenticity and a passion behind each of these projects. They didn't just choose something, and I think because they were able to choose, they were able to really hone in on things that were important to them and their hearts and what they were living. So the excitement and the passion comes from this being authentic to their world and relevant to what they're experiencing. So it will stick with them for, I think, the rest of their lives.
Websites we could use for mental health resources.
Looking at the goals of EDIAR in Edmonton Catholic Schools, the Be an Upstander program ties itself directly to it. There are links to our curriculum and our program of studies that allow teachers to see how they can help our division reach the goals that we've set for ourselves, and part of our goals being that we're looking at the human rights of others and we're looking at making positive change throughout our world in the realms of equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism. This project, being cross-curricular, ties specifically into language arts, social studies, and religion, and brings in those EDIAR concepts within as well. But there's nothing to say that a teacher can't explore this in math, in STEM, in science, in music. There's lots of pulls and ties to not only our curriculum, but to equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we are definitely looking forward to that showcase tomorrow. And I'm really glad to hear that Edmonton is the first one to host this in the West, and not Winnipeg. You know, Oilers, Jets, Edmonton, Winnipeg. Thank you very much. And so, Madam Chair, it's our recommendation that the Board of Trustees recognize the students and staff of St. Pius X, Holy Family, and Sister Annetta Brockman Catholic Schools for their tremendous work and accomplishments in the realm of advancing equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Martin, Chief Superintendent Martin, and of course, Superintendent Anderson. Oh yeah, there she is. And of course, Manager Gina Doss and Sarah. Sarah, this is for you. Don't forget where your roots are. Yeah, congratulations on your secondment, but you belong to Edmonton Catholic, and we anxiously await your return. That being said, thank you. Thank you so much for today's presentation. Thank you for the work to all of you that you're doing with our students in showcasing the extraordinary work that's happening in our schools, which of course is empowering our students and through our Catholic tradition yet. Right, teaching them to take action and to protect the human rights and dignity of all, and of course, making a difference in the world. So thank you for all of that. And I do see trustees in queue, so before reading the recommendation, I will turn it over to my colleagues. First in queue is Trustee Engel. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Sarah. It takes a lot of courage to take a secondment, move to Winnipeg, study, and then come back and implement this in our schools. I just can't thank you enough. I think it is going to be through your work and Gina's work and Superintendent Lynette's work that this generation will see a change happen that other generations haven't been able to reach, with both truth and reconciliation and with all other types of discrimination and racism. I really have a lot of hope that this generation is learning at the right time, and they are going to be the ones that solve the issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Engel. And next in queue is, pardon me, give me 1 second here. And next in queue is Vice Chair Tuchansky. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we are, of course, thrilled that the showcase is here tomorrow and can hardly wait. And I actually had asked Chair Palazzo if I could stay for the whole thing, and she said, I think you might get in everybody's way a little bit. But I can hardly wait. Like, I can't even imagine that road trip. Some powerful people on that, what a joy that would have been, and how overwhelming that would have been to see everything. And I am beyond thrilled, because when you get students involved in anything, and particularly when you give them the opportunity to choose their showcase and what's important to them and what they want to highlight, they are all in. They are invested, and it's amazing how they can speak to it. And they're very convincing. They're very creative. And some of the stuff that I saw was extraordinary, things I never even would have thought of myself. So I can hardly wait for tomorrow, and I'm just overjoyed to be able to talk to every student there and see where their passion lies. So thank you for doing this, and thank you for bringing this to Edmonton Catholic.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Tuchansky. Next in queue is Trustee Mutala. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, Sarah, thank you. This is an awesome program. I can hardly wait to see it tomorrow. We'll be here with bells on. I just want to say thank you for all your hard work to bring it to Edmonton Catholic Schools. And I was impressed too to see all the topics that the students picked. And they took ownership in it, and they presented it so well to everyone. So I'm really thrilled, and I know this program empowers the students to create change in our communities and the world today, but I'm impressed at how well it connects with the curriculum, the program of studies, the Catholic teaching, and our EDIAR strategic plan. So congratulations and thank you, and please come back to Edmonton Catholic Schools.
Thank you very much, Trustee Mutala. Next in queue is Trustee Tiber. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So first of all, I think this is an amazing opportunity for our students. I think it's so important to be able to showcase for our students to be able to showcase just how to make a positive impact in the world around them. But we do have like a similar type of showcase in our division. That's the IB program and the PYP exhibition. But I do have one question. I was just wondering, because I think they're a little bit similar, but I was just wondering how the PYP exhibition and the Be an Upstander showcase are different. Because to me, there's a little bit of overlap. So I was just wondering if you kind of explain how they're same or different. Same but different.
Thank you, Madam Chair, to Trustee Tiber. Yes, you're right. There are some similarities, but there's some uniqueness to this project. So I'd like to invite Gina Doss to go into the finer details.
Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Anderson. Yes, so some of the differences are with the PYP IB exhibition, the students are focusing on the culmination of their learning over 5 years. And it's really based around the IB attitudes and skills, concepts, and knowledge that have been explicitly taught over those 5 years. And that focus on the process and the prep involves meeting with a mentor on a weekly basis, and so it follows a very prescriptive process. The Be an Upstander program provides an opportunity similar, but focused directly on that human rights learning. And also it provides an opportunity for our students that are not attending schools that have the IB program. So that is one of the biggest differences.
So I am very happy that we are expanding the opportunity for more students to have the opportunity to explore and showcase just how to change the world. So I'm very, very happy with this. And yeah, I think they're both excellent programs, and they both have something to offer all students. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Tiber. Next in queue is Trustee Harris. Go ahead, please.
What a beautiful thing. You know, I mentioned when we were talking to Nicholas, you know, the theme of our year, Let Your Light Shine Forth. And you know, our trustees and so many in our community had the opportunity last night to see a magnificent, absolutely spectacular celebration of the arts, where we showcased the talents, the artistic talents of our students. It was unbelievable. And here again, we have an opportunity to showcase the talents of these amazing students and the insights of these amazing students. What incredible value added. Thank you so much to the entire team, Sarah, and the entire team for helping to let our students' lights shine, and bringing opportunities like this. I just have a couple of things I'd like to say, because to me, this one lands it lands on all four, right, in terms of what we are trying to do. Yes, the academics, but so too, this is really all about building a better world, right? And helping these students find their way, find their path in helping to build a better world. So, Sarah and team, I know that I speak for all my colleagues when I say that, we're filled with joy and pride, and yet also humbled to know that we walk this path with people like you and the team. People who have answered the call, people who are open to the voice of their better angels, and who urge all gently to hear that voice as well, and to respond by building a better world. A world of compassion and caring, a world of justice and truth and love. The world needs such people desperately. And if we can nurture that within these students, God, we will have done God's work. As we know, there are powerful and seductive voices today that would have us follow a very different path. Such has always been the case. Voices of insecurity, voices of hate, voices of division, voices of nihilism, power for its own sake, voices of social Darwinism, survival of the fittest. There are many that follow their most predatory instincts. And we see the evidence of this all over the world. And with AI, the tools are becoming much more sophisticated to seduce the innocent. Now, against that backdrop, there is a light. And as I say, I think about it in relation to our own vision this year. There is a light, and there is hope. And we can all be that light. And we can all help others find that light within themselves and be that light to others. And with the Be an Upstander program, Upstander Alberta Showcase, you're definitely nurturing that light. And you're amplifying that light in the lives of these beautiful children. So I just want to express my deepest thanks to you, Sarah, and the team, the entire team, for everything that you're doing to help us all be guided by our better angels. Thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Harris. So you are making a difference in the event that you didn't think you were. So thank you very much for that. And seeing no one else in queue, I am honored to read the recommendation for the record that the Board of Trustees recognizes the students and staff of St. Pius X, Holy Family, and Sister Annetta Brockman Catholic Schools for their tremendous work and accomplishments in the realm of advancing equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism. Thank you. And that being said, we will now move on to number 3, presentation and review of accountability report, beginning with facility services overview, and I'll turn it over to you, Chief Superintendent Martin.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you once again, Principal Flynn and Sarah and Gina.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Madam Chair, I feel extremely comfortable being in this building this afternoon, having our A team, the entire A team here, who can solve any issues in this building. So I feel very comfortable and blessed. And so at this time, I would welcome Superintendent Tom Wasylenko.
Thank you and good afternoon, Madam Chair, Trustees, Chief Superintendent Martin. I'm pleased to present this report on behalf of Facility Services, which details our work. And in hearing many times today our theme, I'm very proud to say that not only do we represent and let our light shine spiritually, figuratively, but actually, we light up our school division. Before I begin our presentation, I'd like to introduce my incredible team of managers that I work with and who will be joining me in this presentation. They are Director Wendy Robinson, Manager of Warehouse Services Leo Del Mastro, Manager of Printing Services Brent Gallagher, Manager of Facility Infrastructure Travis Hoos, Manager of Financial Services Amy Nunez, Manager of Electronic Services Rob Pierce, and Manager of Custodial Services Jack Van Engelen. And together, these managers support and oversee the work of nearly 440 members of our employee group in the division from AUPE, Unifor, and the out-of-scope employee groups. Facility Services is funded through a variety of sources with a typical annual accountability for nearly $50 million to address the extensive and ongoing operations and maintenance needs of our inventory of just over 100 buildings in the division. Now, some terminology. Deferred maintenance, that's not a funding source, that's actually a financial liability, is the amount needed but not yet expended for repairs, restoration, or rehabilitation of our sites. The 5-year amount for Edmonton Catholic Schools sits at approximately $400 million. In our funding sources, IMR stands for Infrastructure, Maintenance, and Renewal. These funds are separately allocated by government and are provided to meet the health, safety, and essential upgrades of our plants and buildings so as to reduce that deferred maintenance. The allocation for 23-24 is $5.7 million. CMR, another funding bucket, stands for Capital Maintenance and Renewal. Like IMR, these funds are allocated but are targeted specifically to capital upgrades and maintenance, and the 23-24 allocation for this is $2.9 million. And our final allocation, O&M, or Operations and Maintenance funding, is allocated according to the division's overall student enrollment and utilization rates. These funds are used for the day-to-day operation of our sites, custodial, utilities, general electrical and maintenance, and the like. This envelope received an allocation of $39.7 million for the 23-24 school year. Further to these annual operational funding envelopes, the department also works in collaboration with Alberta Infrastructure and Education in government-funded major projects, such as major modernizations, new school builds, and modular program, which we'll touch upon later in the presentation. Facility Services remains the one department not centrally housed within our new beautiful Lumen Christi Catholic Education Centre, but for operational reasons. I think the rest of the people here still like us. Our service center features over 96,000 square feet of office, warehouse, and production space as our base of operations, with one satellite location at Louis St. Laurent and a second one ready to be built at Father Leo Green for storage of extra supplies and materials for our tradespeople so as to reduce lost travel time going to the various schools in our division. Despite our separate location, Facility Services is integrally connected in operations to all of the departments within the division, dedicated to ensuring that educational programming and central services are optimally supported from an infrastructural and operational standpoint. As well as our internal collaborations, Facility Services is also necessarily connected to many external partners, service providers, and agencies to ensure that schools and sites are maintained, serviced, upgraded, or built to the best possible standards. I'm now pleased to turn the presentation over to our director, Wendy Robinson.
Thanks, Tom, and good afternoon. Within our department, there is ongoing promotion of the mission of Edmonton Catholic Schools as not only an institution where learning takes place, but one in which all are called to serve as Christ has modeled. Our tradespeople, admin support, and management all collaborate in gaining awareness of and implementing that call to action within our various roles. At the same time, we take opportunities to actively contribute to the Edmonton Catholic School Foundation, the Edmonton Food Bank, and Catholic Social Services. Our staff department participates in division faith events with ecumenical, I can't say that word today, lens on our team's service within our Catholic school division. Through many of these events, we raise funds for the charities I just mentioned. Our team is comprised of highly skilled and certified professionals and tradespeople in their respective fields who undertake ongoing training to remain current in knowledge, trends, and certifications necessary to serve most capably. The department supports this training with both internal and external professional development opportunities that are made available. The department also holds department-wide PD opportunities which address wider topics of service in addition to engagement in division priorities such as the Respect in the Workplace and EDIR training, as well as the Faith Development Days. Up you will see on the screen an example of an agenda that we had March 3rd at Lumen Christi here. We had our department PD day. We hosted a whole group as well as small breakout sessions for our staff with a wide range of topics which enriched our staff both professionally and personally. At this time, I would like to turn the floor over to the manager of our warehouse, Leo Del Mastro.
Thank you, Wendy. Good afternoon. The warehouse team is continually ordering, receiving, sorting, shelving, picking, packaging, and redistributing goods across the division. We also coordinate supplies for many trades who operate out of our facility services. Delivery of product among schools, including the pickup and delivery of IMC and printing material, falls to the warehouse team. On average, as you'll see by this table, as displayed, is the warehouse fulfills approximately 30,000 orders with a cumulative value of over $2 million annually. Within the warehouse, we store a large quantity of equipment such as chairs, risers, stages, and bulletin boards, known as the loaner pool, and which our schools may book for occasional use for such events as open houses and awards night. Our team delivers and picks up these items according to the requested schedule. I'll now turn the mic over to our manager of printing services, Brent Gallagher.
Thanks, Leo, and good afternoon. Printing services financially cost-neutral operation within facility services. Our own operation cost potentially offsets by the competitive fees charged to schools for the printing requests, but mostly from revenue generated by service to external partners such as Greater St. Albert, Catholic Schools, and Archdiocese. Efficient ordering process are made available to schools and sites through electronic print queue, resulting in more timely fulfillment of orders than delivered by our IMC service basically out of the warehouse from Leo's workers, which they do a great job for us. I'll take it. Some of many types of production we provide, including printing of common summative assignments, various screening tools, learning services, course guides of alternative education, individual teacher curricular resources, mail drop-offs, promotional materials from communications, large format graphics, printing, to name a few. Like some of the signs that you got in here, those ones are standing there, we did at the printing services. The program last night that we did for you, that was at the Celebration of the Arts, we printed. So we did those. And basically on a side note, we are the second biggest implant operation in North America. And that's with 6 employees. So they do work very hard. So now I'd like to turn over the mic to my colleague, Travis Hoos. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brent, and good afternoon, trustees. Within my infrastructure portfolio, I oversee two different aspects of operations. The first of these is maintenance. In the world of maintenance, we have 4 area supervisors who oversee a team of tradespeople who attend to the needs of the schools and sites within their area primarily. This approach leads to heightened familiarity with the infrastructure they're responsible for maintaining at these sites, which in turn lead to greater efficiencies in service. As mentioned earlier, different funding envelopes are used to address maintenance needs. These include O&M, IMR, and CMR, each of which addresses differing elements of the maintenance needs identified. Cyclical and ongoing maintenance needs are also addressed by this team, including painting of schools and gym floor resurfacing division-wide. A work request self-service portal, or WRSS, facilitates a streamlined pathway to request maintenance service, as well as to track progress and associated costs internally for accounting and reporting purposes. The maintenance team responds to an average of over 10,000 WRSS requests annually. These are in addition to the 120 to 150 IMR and CMR project requests that we receive, which for this year amounted to $32 million in requests, with $5.6 million of those requests approved and actioned based on the funding provided in that envelope. Projects underway or completed this year fall into these categories: lighting project upgrades, mechanical system work, roof replacements, electrical upgrades, interior space upgrades, barrier-free upgrades, entrance and exit upgrades, sidewalks, and exterior concrete as well. A significant way in which facility services helps ensure as much of the student basic grant, which in part funds the O&M envelope, goes directly to students, is by absorbing the internal costs for labor for maintenance requests fulfilled by our staff. In this way, facility services helps ensure that the maximum amount of educational dollars remain targeted to students and instruction. Also located in the warehouse portion of our building is the mechanic shop. Here, 2 journeyman mechanics service our entire fleet of facility services vehicles and machinery, in addition to all the small engine equipment from schools and sites across the division. And finally, our wood shop team designs, fabricates, or repairs an assortment of products to upgrade or enhance our schools and sites, including such items as cabinetry, millwork, desks, and shelves. The second aspect within the broader mandate of facility infrastructure deals with capital projects. These are major projects, usually separately funded, including our major modernizations, significant infrastructure upgrades like roofs and boilers, or new school builds. The capital projects team directs and manages new builds, modernizations, and moderate to large-scale IMR and CMR projects, which typically require coordination of one or more consultants and trades. 4 project managers are essential in managing these projects with accountability to financial, structural, and legislative compliance. This team works closely with educational planning, particularly since many of these projects comprise elements of the division's 3 and 10-year capital plans. As you will see on the slide, for the 22-23 year, capital projects is involved in 52 projects across 40 schools and sites across the division. We are grateful to be partnered with Alberta Infrastructure and ACI Architecture as we design and build some of our newest schools. Father Michael McCaffrey Catholic High School in Heritage Valley is well underway and scheduled to open in September 2024. Designs are complete, approved, and out to tender for 2 new builds, both slated to begin construction this summer. The first is St. Josephine Bakita Catholic Elementary Junior High School in the Lewis Farms Seacourt area. It is scheduled to open September 2025. The second is Blessed Arlo Acutus Catholic High School, located in the Dunluce Castle Downs neighborhood. It is scheduled for completion January 2026, with a planned opening September 2026. Finally, we are excited to begin the design phase for the consolidation project in the Rundle Heights neighborhood, which will see a new K-9 school built to replace St. Nicholas, St. Jerome, and St. Bernadette schools into one modern facility on the St. Jerome site. Design funding for this project was recently announced in the provincial budget 2023. I would now like to turn the mic over to Rob Pierce, Manager of Electronic Services.
Thanks, Travis, and good afternoon, trustees. The work in electronics typically is of larger scale division-wide systems, upgrades to maintain currency of electronic systems within schools. There is certainly a component of service repair on an as-needed basis. However, the bulk of our work is on a broader scale. For existing infrastructure, our team evaluates infrastructure's capacity to meet educational and systems operational demands of 21st century learning, recommending system upgrades as deemed appropriate for consistency throughout the division. In our new builds, modular program moves or builds, and modernizations, we are responsible for acquiring and installing technologies as designated at the termination of the infrastructure which is installed by contracted trades. As you can see by this slide, electronic services remain steadily busy undertaking over 88 IMR and CMR projects. The range of infrastructure issues we address may surprise you, addressing such things as network system type rooms, exterior entrance door upgrades, access control system, lock set and read key upgrades, carbon monoxide detection upgrades, public address systems, correctable clock systems, lockdown notification systems, audio-visual upgrades, and fire alarm upgrades. Thank you, and now please welcome the Manager of Custodial Services, Jack Van Eglen.
Thanks, Rob. Good afternoon, trustees. I'm very pleased to share the work Custodial Services does in all of our schools and sites to ensure everybody has a clean, safe, working and learning environment day to day. Our team of over 300 custodians serve schools in shifts beginning at 6 a.m., getting ready, getting that snow cleared, and until 11 p.m., closing up after evening rentals, Monday to Friday, and many weekends, to meet the programming, extracurricular, and joint use needs of our schools and sites. Their work includes inspections for safety, snow removal, lawn care, boiler checks, site security, in addition to all the necessary interior and exterior cleaning. During the summer months, custodians support other departments. We support maintenance and gym floor refinishing, floor waxing, concrete refinishing in our nice new schools, deep cleaning in preparation for the next school startup year. We liaise closely with facilities maintenance staff by identifying infrastructure needs to be addressed and assist with IMC delivery. So custodians are really eyes and ears in the building, and they can report issues to the maintenance through WRSS systems. I'll now turn the mic over to our Manager of Financial Services, Amy Nunes, and just a brief shout out to my custodial services team, program coordinator, and 2 custodial supervisors. I cannot imagine doing this job by myself, so shout out to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack, and good afternoon. The Financial Services Department within Facilities is responsible for the entirety of the department's budgeting, resource allocation, invoicing, forecasting, monitoring of allocations and expenditures, job costing and reconciliations of all work orders, as well as reporting to the appropriate authorities. Our work includes preparation of the annual O&M budget submission, strategic budget forecasting management on a department basis and facility services as a whole, preparation and distribution of financial reports to various users, both internal and external, accounting for all revenues, allocations, expenses, assets, and liabilities of facility services, the processing and reconciliation of accounts payables and receivables, monitoring of allocations and related expenditures against budgets and forecasts, including O&M, IMR, and CMR, as well as job costing and reconciliations of all work orders, including those initiated through WRSS. As described by my colleagues earlier in the presentation, facility services deals with significant dollar amounts within the various funding envelopes from which we draw for our services. Tens of thousands of work orders and invoices come from our various departments and facilities through to the financial services team, in addition to the nearly $50 million in O&M, IMR, and CMR funding. On top of that, the financial team is responsible for the cost accounting of our large-scale projects, which run into the tens of millions of dollars and frequently are in collaboration with Alberta Infrastructure. Thank you, and I will now return the presentation to Tom.
Thank you, Amy. That concludes our presentation, but I just want to mention that our team and all the people that they direct and manage are truly servant leaders. They work behind the scenes. They don't want the limelight. So I thank my team for coming and presenting today. In true trustee Angle fashion, I believe I'm going to have to take them for ice cream, especially Manager Hoos, who had the longest segment and was not pleased about that. But anyway, thank you for your time and attention, and I open the floor to any questions.
Madam Chair, thank you, and thank you, Superintendent Wasilenko. And I have to stress, as you've done, these are the unsung heroes of our division. We only know things are not going well if something goes wrong. When everything is going right, we don't think about it. But it's only going right because of everything you're doing. And so honestly, it is just such an outstanding department in this school division. We absolutely could not function without you. It would stop in an hour. Just one thing, it would just stop in an hour. So, Madam Chair, I really want to recognize this department, and I know that they've taken time out of their busy days to come here today, and it's greatly appreciated by every one of them. And through Superintendent Wasilenko, they're just doing a phenomenal job. So thank you very much. Further to that, you might have noticed the budget pieces, and I know that this board has been talking budget with the ministry, and we can clearly see that we are operating on literally a shoestring budget. Literally. Just in the request was 32 million, if I recall, for IMR. Those are just the urgent, absolutely urgent requests. It's not what we really need to do. Those are the urgent requests. And we're given just a little over 5 million. And so this is something that really needs to be looked at by the government. We're not getting the funding that we need for this in this area. And I know that you're all working very hard at this, and I just want to make it known that this is a real concern for us. But again, thank you, Superintendent Wasilenko. And so, Madam Chair, it is my recommendation that based on the evidence provided in the Facility Services Board Report 2023, the Board of Trustees determines that the following quality indicators have been met as per Board Policy 12 Appendix B relative to the current evaluation period, which is Quality Indicator 4.8, 8.2, 8.3, and 8.4. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Chief Superintendent Martin, Superintendent Wazalenko, Director of Operations Robinson, and I'm not going to give all of your names, but the superb managers who are here with us today and the entire team. We've heard both you and our Chief Superintendent sing your praises. We recognize the hard work that you are doing in our schools. Incidentally, no, I'm just kidding. I was going to say, I have a school. No, I'm just kidding. But that being said, you have a highly functional operational department, and it is because of you that work gets done. I got really excited when I saw you guys here today, thinking, oh, good, what are they doing today? Because I thought they're either delivering something, there's an update, or there's some kind of a completion. So thank you for everything that you do. And this is a motion, and so I am going to turn it to, but my screen is, there it is, okay. I do see Trustee Harris first in queue to make this motion. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I'll move that based on the evidence provided in the Facility Services Board Report 2023, the Board of Trustees determines that the following quality indicators have been met as per Board Policy 12, Appendix B, relative to the current evaluation period, the quality indicators as noted.
Thank you very much. Do you wish to speak to your motion, Trustee Harris?
Indeed, I do, Madam Chair. I want to express my deepest thanks to you folks. I'm so happy that we have an opportunity to bring this to a public meeting. You know, normally our protocol is that the behind-the-scenes stuff, right, which is not kind of public-facing, we don't bring to public meetings. Okay, this is a matter that is exceptional, and I'm very happy that we're having the opportunity to have this presented. As Chief Superintendent Martin has indicated, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, right? And my colleagues have heard me say this any number of times, but I've oftentimes thought that, you know, you can tell how sophisticated a system is, not by what gets done in a heroic effort, but by what gets taken for granted. Now, not to diminish the fact that there's probably a lot of heroic effort that's going on in the department, but to us, right? Sitting back, coming into these facilities, coming into these rooms, knowing that these are, you know, safe, healthy, well supplied, well equipped, that all is in hand. That for us it just dehassles all the process, right? It makes it simplifies things for the delivery of a very high quality education. So. It is a pleasure for me to have an opportunity to make this motion. You know, I had an opportunity when we were having our board assignments to step up when it was time to who's going to be sort of the board rep for AUP in terms of the AUP relationships, and I very much look forward to that because of my history with this group. Some of you may well know that I have a bit of a history with this group back to the early part of my career, back in the 70s and 80s. And I think in some respects it was because of that history and what I learned when I was sort of associated into the facilities. I was in human resources at the time. I think it was because of that experience that I'm back here as a trustee now, because I learned so much and I had such high regard for the people that your team members, for the leadership and the team, that it had an impact on me throughout my career. And when I started thinking about, now, what do I want to be doing sort of in this next stage of life to continue to have an impact in my community, it was, of course, Edmonton Catholic. I mean, I think it was those experiences early in the career that sort of locked that in, that this was a place where where you could have that kind of impact. And right through the organization, entirely through the organization. Chief Superintendent Martin, you mentioned it right at the start, A-team, and I knew that right when I was with the division back in the 70s and 80s, that people brought themselves. They brought their A-game every day, right across the spectrum. So I just want to express my deepest appreciation to you, Wendy and Leo, Brent, Travis, Amy, Rob, Jack, and of course Tom, for everything that you do. And please extend our very deepest appreciation to your team members, because, as noted, They are the unsung heroes. They don't look for the glory, but boy, I'll tell you, we'd miss them in an instant. If they weren't bringing their A game every day. So thanks for that. And I will have some questions later, but I know other trustees are in line.
Trustee Harris. You're so funny. Okay. Let's continue here. So we have Trustee Engel next in queue. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm really glad, Superintendent Waslenko, that you started to bring your staff around more. I really enjoyed meeting so many of you and chatting with you at the groundbreaking of St. Josephine Bakita. And I noticed that you do so much work and it's so behind the scenes, but you guys have so much personality and sense of humor. Just absolutely think it would be such a fun place to work. Superintendent Waslenko has promised the Board of Trustees a tour where we can meet you and maybe meet some of your staff, and we are definitely going to hold him to it. I do have just a couple of questions. The modular issue, is that, like, there's no plan for 22-23? I read on the slide, like, the government of Alberta has, well, I guess, I'm just sort of asking how that, because didn't it say that they don't have a plan?
Madam Chair, through to Trustee.
I just circled that and I thought, I finally have something that I don't understand here, really.
So at the time that slide was developed, there was no articulated plan. However, and in working with educational planning, we have received a plan. It's never the plan that we want, but it certainly is a plan. So there will be moves of modulars. We're actually, our team through capital projects is in the midst of determining some moves and some relocations of portables, modulars throughout the city as needed. So that is in place. It just came as an announcement later than the preparation of this presentation.
Okay, and the second question is I want to know more about us being the biggest printing with 6 employees, because I'm always looking for stuff to boast about. I'm a very poor Catholic. I'm very proud.
So again, Madam Chair, through to Trustee Engel, the answer to that question is something actually that I just learned today from our manager, Brent Gallagher. And so as what's the term, in-house plant, we are the second largest in North America for servicing its own operations. So yes, they do an amazing job. And those machines are going night and day, weekends, nonstop.
And I'm never going to look at a program and just look at it again. I'm going to think of those 6 people in those machines going 24 hours a day. Thank you so much for the work you do. The other question I have has to do with financial services. How are you connected with CFO Grattan? Like, I guess very connected, but are there people that work both because we get the same reports? And I know at one time it was separated maybe too much, where there was problems with accounting having 2 distinct different places. So now it's sort of like it's melded together, or how is financial services out of this office, or?
So, Madam Chair, through to Trustee Engel, in response for Amy, we have our own financial services team that works closely with the CFO and all of our financial operations through the division. We meet every second week to review budgeting, capital projects, capital allocations, and so Amy does work with the CFO directly in managing all of those resources in conjunction with the rest of the division's finances. So they're very intimately connected in their work.
Big job. James never told us about that perk in his job that he gets to work with Amy. And then the only other thing that I want to ask is there any problems in finding custodians? I know that when we talk staffing, sometimes EAs are hard to find. Is it a fairly easy position to fill? And same with the contracted services. Are there any struggles in that way?
So, Madam, through to Trustee Engel, on behalf of Jack, yes, it's a lot of work. We have ongoing replacement and onboarding and recruiting of our custodial staff, both permanent and temporary, casual, and that labor force is constantly shifting and moving as demands are needed. We do rigorous training of them to help maintain them. Once upon a day, we used to have some summer student opportunities where students would work in the summer and do some of the off hours periods, but then we would lose our casual custodial employees, and so we would have to retrain, rehire, retrain, and onboard a whole new crew every year. That's why Jack describes his presence having a wide part in his head. He worked very hard at that. So definitely it is a lot of work, and we're constantly in collaboration with our partners in human resources to add to our complement of staff all the time.
Okay, and I don't usually take this much time, but you guys have never come before. So I wanted to make sure that you come back, that we show real need here. I just want to comment from the very first days of becoming a trustee, and I guess this goes back to Garnet McKee days, how proud I have been to be part of Edmonton Catholic when it comes to the cleanliness of our buildings.
Yes.
I'll never forget, and I guess we're online, so I don't even remember the school, but going to another facility and going, really? The difference just stood out unbelievably with the pride in work or whatever, and that has stayed with me. And every time I walk into our schools, I try and find the custodian and reach out, because remarkable work is done every day, keeping our schools top notch. So to Superintendent Wazelenko, I am not as sharp as Trustee Harris when it comes to, I know Wendy and Amy and Rob. I guess I do know everybody, but I'm just gonna, I guess I am as smart. I just want to say thank you to all of you. And Tom's got the budget for ice cream.
Small scoops only.
Thank you very much, Trustee Engel. A little bit of show off on my part. Wendy, Pompillo, Brent, Travis, Amy, Rob, Jack. So there you go. I got all your names. But she's absolutely right. I think the work that you do is extraordinary. So thank you very much. But we have more trustees in queue, so I hope this doesn't dissuade you from coming back to us. We promise we'll be gentle the next time around. That being said, we have Trustee Tiber next in queue. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So first of all, thank you for coming and sharing and showcasing all that you do, and for explaining, deferred maintenance, IMR, O&M, CMR. I even have trouble sometimes explaining and getting them right. So, I get so proud when I see our ECSD vans out there, because I know they're on the way to deliver something or fix something. And it's interesting because, it's all coming from your department. It's those people that are out there trying to make a difference for the students in the schools and making sure that they're safe, they're clean, that they have what they need. So I do have one quick question, and then I have a comment. So the question I have is around the printing services as well. Interesting. You mentioned that we do some other divisions. Do we do work outside of school divisions, or is it kind of just limited to working within the schools? And because I think you mentioned Elk Island or Greater St. Albert. I can't remember which one it was.
So, Madam Chair, through to Trustee Tiber, yes, we do provide some external service. So it's Greater St. Albert Catholic that we support as a school division. We also support the Catholic Archdiocese of Edmonton as well with some printing.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. So my comment is, it was interesting. I was speaking to an MLA recently, and I was advocating for new schools, had her cornered. So I thought, what? And I was kind of bragging about, how we have a proven track record of building schools and how we're a really good candidate to give schools to because we really need them. But also we were talking that, the comment back to me was, yes, your division is actually known for building schools and being able to do it right. So that is because of you. That is because of everybody that takes the time and to put all the dot the I's, cross the T's, and making us being known as somebody who is good at building schools. So I want to thank you for making my role and advocating easier and advocating for our schools. And, I'm excited to continue to advocate for IMR and schools. And, just making sure that we have those dollars that, yes, they need to go in the classroom, but there is a whole world around the classroom that needs supporting as well. So for that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Tuber. Next in queue is Trustee Mutala. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Superintendent Vasilenko, for bringing this beautiful report to us. And it's very informative because a lot of people do not know what goes on behind the scenes. Thank you to the A team. I greatly appreciate all the hard work that you do. And every time, I'm like Debbie, every time I go into the schools, I find the custodian and I make sure I thank them because I know that they run the schools behind the scenes with the administrative assistants as well. And that was one of the things that I remember as a new teacher when I started out. I remember somebody saying that, always find your custodian and always make sure you connect with him and treat him really well, because if you ever need something done in your classroom, he will come and help you whenever you need it. And that is true. And the custodians I know that I used to work with, they were like the face of Christ to a lot of our kids. A lot of our kids went to those custodians and they talked to them, and those custodians helped those kids as well. So a big thank you to all the departments. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you very much, Trustee Mutala. Vice Chair Tuchansky, you're next in queue. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, quickly, thank you so much. I had zero idea the breadth of your department. It is extraordinary. Now, of course, it's unfortunate that you're not with us because we can't see you on a consistent basis and see what you're doing. But like my colleagues have said, every time we see a van or we see anything going on, we know that something's on its way. So your entire facility is extraordinary. We're just delighted. I'm delighted that you're here to explain everything. We know you do the work, but to actually see it laid out and spelled out for us was remarkable. So thank you so much, and I will let my colleague ask the hard questions, but I'm terribly grateful. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So that would be the end of round one. That being said, you've heard the accolades. So we will continue as there appears to be more questions from the trustees. And Trustee Harris, you're first in queue. Go ahead, please.
Well, just very quickly to pick up on a comment that Trustee Mutala made. I know that what you have said there about students having a connection, say for example, with their custodian is very important. I know my own son had that kind of relationship as he was going through, right? And I think in many respects it was the custodian who helped sort of nurture an interest in him for heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, right? And so that really resonated for me, for sure. The question that I've got for you is if you were to take a look and you have an opportunity with this board to talk a little bit about what you see as the most formidable challenge, and perhaps greatest opportunity from a facilities perspective. Is there anything that jumps out sort of top of mind for you on that?
I pause. Madam Chair, through to Trustee Harris. There are many competing demands, and I think probably the greatest challenge that we face, there are many, but the greatest one would be balancing the maintenance of our existing inventory, keeping it current, updated, in sound function, knowing that it's not going to be replaced, and meeting the demands of our very highly populous growing areas of the city, getting new schools built. So deploying the resources and supporting the needs of principals. We have a site-based model of leadership in our division, and our principals advocate very, very strenuously for their sites, appropriately so. And we frequently can't meet their requests because we have so many other necessary demands. So I think that would probably be our biggest challenge, is just meeting those ongoing upgrading, we use the word frequently today, needs and the renewal of our existing inventory.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Superintendent Wasilenko. Trustee Harris, you are last in queue. Were there any other questions before I ask you to close?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you very much. Would you like to close, Trustee Harris, before calling the vote? Oh, you know what? Let me put you back on. You may have, okay, go ahead, Trustee Harris, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Nothing further other than please understand our deep appreciation for everything you do. And if you can, take that message back to your team, because, they are so integral to everything we do. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Trustee Harris. Thank you for being extraordinary. That being said, I will proceed to call the vote at this time, asking all trustees. There we go. And I know you're going to be really surprised, but this motion is carried. So thank you very much for everything that you do. Thank you. And that being said, oh yeah, and they're even going to applaud. I'm surprised she didn't say Superintendent Wazelenko off to ice cream, but he knows. Yeah, he knows? Okay, you know. Okay. Moving on next on the agenda is 3.2, Walking Together Towards a Glorious Future, and I'll turn it back to you, Chief Superintendent Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I believe that Manager Gallagher is going to start taking over the Canadian Mint and start printing money for us. Thank you, Madam Chair. And so I would ask Superintendent Fiacco to come forward for his Walking Together Towards a Glorious Future report.
Thank you, Chief Superintendent Martin, Madam Chair, to the Board of Trustees. It is my privilege to present to you an overview of next year's Walking Together Towards a Glorious Future plan. And at the same time, I will share with you some facts and some success stories from the past few years of Walking Together. So since 2018, educational planning has worked to improve school viability across Edmonton Catholic School Division. It's a project initiative called Walking Together Towards a Glorious Future. The project serves as an innovative guide to evaluate schools and program offerings within the division and develops plans to balance utilization, enhance learning environments, improve operating costs, and develop a continuum of programming. In alignment with expectations from Alberta Education, educational planning reviews data and engages with schools and their communities to seek effective solutions to achieve high-quality learning environments. To meet the ever-changing needs of our students, Ed Planning must continually assess school viability and seek opportunities for improvements. Through Walking Together Towards a Glorious Future, Ed Planning takes a holistic approach to school planning and program planning to best allocate division resources and support evidence-based decision-making. The program includes analysis that is division-wide, as well as planned on sectors and individual schools. The Walking Together initiative includes an annual review of school viability. This review ranks and flags schools based on school enrollment, utilization, program offerings, and facility condition. If a school is deemed non-viable, Ed Planning will implement an action plan for improvements, also known as the Viability Improvement Process. Once initiated, Ed Planning will continue to monitor and analyze the school over time to track the success of the intervention. Throughout the process, Ed Planning may consider additional measures to address school viability. If no improvements are made at the end of the viability improvement process, a school closure may be considered. A focal point for Walking Together in 2023-2024 is to address significant enrollment pressures impacting newer schools on the outskirts of Anthony Henday Drive. Many of these schools were built recently, but are already substantially overutilized, with mounting enrollment pressure that will only increase as newer communities are built out. The influx of students at these schools has led to large class sizes, limited space for programming, and additional traffic congestion and overcrowding. Until new schools are built, Walking Together Towards a Glorious Future is the primary resource to mitigate these pressures and develop creative solutions to balance utilization so that these schools can operate more effectively. Planning measures such as the addition of modulars, attendance boundaries, and program removal or additions may be used to reduce enrollment pressure. While some of these options may be difficult to implement, ECSD will utilize best practices in public engagement to consult with staff, parents, students, and other stakeholders on potential Walking Together Towards a Glorious Future solutions for schools. I would like to share with you some success stories that have occurred over the past few years. And before I do, I just want to make it very clear that even though I'm the fortunate soul that gets to talk about these success stories and be not a very good Catholic and brag, I want everyone to understand that this is a division collaboration. I'm sure that Tom Wozlenko, Lynette, and HR, and Dwayne Lang, formerly, and now Christine Kennard, and all of our department leads, as we bring these ideas forward, they think, okay, again, Fiacco, more? And it's a lot of work. Even the smallest little change involves every department. So the first thing I want to discuss or bring up is our division-wide utilization increased to 88% this year. That's up 5% from last year. Now, this is largely due to, obviously, school enrollment increases, the migration in Alberta, but also due to a lot of the program changes and redesignations of students we made last year, where not only we redesignate students, we also retain those students. And as a result of that increase in utilization, many of our schools are now over 85% utilization. Many more schools, I should say. I believe it's 13 are over 85%, and that has brought in an additional $1.1 million in operation and maintenance for our division. Of course, the division has accommodated a large influx of displaced newcomers settling into Edmonton, with many coming from Ukraine. The Ukrainian bilingual program has seen significant growth enrollment, over 500 students in the Ukrainian bilingual program. That's not to say within all of our schools, but within those schools that have Ukrainian bilingual, we were able to accommodate 500 newcomers to Canada. Our division for this school year, announced last school year, that we are going to expand our kindergarten with full-day programming to 4 schools for this school year. We're adding another 4 schools for next year. But as we look back on that decision, in implementing full-day programming at Bishop Saverin, St. Philip, St. Augustine, and Our Lady of Prairies for this school year, that resulted in 82 more students in those 4 schools. So that investment in our programming is paid off. In terms of 100 Voices retention, we've retained 85% of our 100 Voices students, which is up 17% from the year prior. If I can talk about some specific schools now. St. Joseph Catholic High School, utilization has increased by 14%. Over the years, we've added 4th and 5th year high school programming, an online school. We created a catchment area for the school, while at the same time reintroducing a traditional classroom instruction model delivery to that institution, and their utilization is now at 85%. Which is very great to see and has long-term sustainability now. And I'm happy to also report that as I was talking to Principal Fian, his grade 10 numbers are looking very strong. He's pushing 400 students. So you extrapolate that over 3 years, he's going to be at capacity here pretty quick. Another school story I want to share is St. Boniface. We did a division engagement with that community this year. And even though we haven't implemented the program just as yet, we've announced a STEAM program at that school for next year. And we're already seeing families and students come back to St. Boniface. There's over 40 students that have now registered since September in anticipation for next year. We also introduced a full-day kindergarten program at St. Boniface, and for the first time in many years, over 5 years, I believe, there's going to be 2 kindergarten classes at St. Boniface. Our Lady of Carmel, of course, we all know about the relocation of the junior high program to Louis Saint Laurent, and Our Lady of Carmel is now a K-6 STEM school with the Sports Academy as well in it. Initial indications show a lot of promise at Our Lady of Carmel as enrollment has been increasing steadily throughout the year with much interest for 23-24. I believe they're up 30 students in September. The Junior High Hockey Academy at Louis Saint Laurent was very popular in its first year and will be doubled next year. It's 48 students for each grade of the Junior High Hockey Academy. The soccer program as well has over 60 students and is growing. 2 new schools opened in September, Joan Carr, K-9 School, and Ben Robe. Ben Robe offers the CRE program, 100 Voices, and kindergarten with full day programming. And it's a pleasure to say that both schools are healthy and viable. Joan Carr in particular. Next year, if my memory serves, we've gone from 380 students to 730 in 1 year. ECSD staff, of course, we all moved to our common home, consolidating 6 buildings into one, providing significant cost savings in operations. The division worked with the City of Edmonton to secure larger building sites for future schools. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but in the future, that's going to give us more options and accommodate larger sites, school sites, and better parking and better traffic flow. So we're very excited about that. The division implemented marketing strategies for 5 schools, including professional school tour videos to attract students to St. Timothy's, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Our Lady of Victories, St. Gerard, and Anne Fitzgerald. And again, thanks to Christine Meadows and her magic team, these school tour videos worked. I'll pick one out here, Our Lady of Victories, 2 kindergarten classes next year. Went from 9 students this year to over 40 registered for next year. ECSD retained nearly all the students that were previously enrolled at St. Basil Polish program at our community schools. I believe it was 92% capacity or retention. So that provided significant transportation cost savings and increased division utilization. And finally, your favorite topic of mine, playgrounds and outdoor classrooms. So last summer, we built 6 playgrounds, 12 outdoor classrooms to improve access to outdoor learning and recreational amenities for students across the division. We're going to continue on this summer with 3 new playgrounds and 8 outdoor classrooms. And I could go on and on and on, but I think I'll turn it over now to Chief Superintendent Martin to read the recommendation.
Thank you very much. And it's always wonderful to see these success stories. As Superintendent Fiacco indicated, it takes a village to absolutely work on all of these facets in our division, but it's led by you and your department. And I see one of our newest members of the department, Mr. Fiacco. So would you mind introducing him to all of us?
Absolutely. It's my, Madam Chair, through the Board of Trustees, my pleasure to introduce to you our newest member to our team, Planning Manager Joseph Otitoju. Joseph comes to us from Alberta Education, spending the past 10 years with Alberta Education in capital planning. He was a senior manager of Capital Planning North, so we are very grateful and fortunate that he chose Edmonton Catholic, and I hope he feels the same.
Yes, welcome, welcome. And so we know that there's a lot more to come from this department. They have their hands in everything that is happening within this division to streamline programming, to add more schools, and to ensure that it's functioning like a top. So thank you very much. So Madam Chair, it's my recommendation that the Board of Trustees acknowledges receipt of the Walking Together Towards a Glorious Future Report 2023-24.
Thank you very much, Chief Superintendent Martin, Superintendent Fiacco, and the entire team, and welcome, Joseph. It's wonderful to have you here. That being said, the success stories that you highlighted, or, I guess, there's just such a good news story for us, right? Because obviously it's telling us that the project is working, and your efforts to address those enrollment pressures in our division, the fact that you're addressing our utilization concerns in our schools, and you're providing improvement. Your department has worked extremely hard, and so the project is remarkable and deserves commendations. I particularly love the VIP school analysis. I just think it's awesome because it makes sense and there's no surprises. So commendations to you all and thank you for everything that you're doing for our division. And that being said, I do see trustees in queue, and so I will turn it over to Trustee Ingle first. Go ahead, please, Trustee Ingle.
Thanks, Madam Chair, and thank you, Superintendent Fiacco. Those are indeed success stories. And Trustee T-Bear alluded to the fact that we know how to build schools. Well, part of that is we know where to build schools because the minute we open them, they're full. And so we know where the need is and we build where the people are. And that takes extraordinary planning. It really does. And I want to thank you and your department for that planning. I think the VIP, I just love the idea of that because what it does is it leaves no surprises. And I think quite often reaction to program changes or school closures or amalgamations is it seems to just slide right up. And so I think that this new one, we're getting closer to the target, which is a darn hard target to hit because we've been trying for years, is to inform the community and have the community input. So I'm really thrilled about that. I do have one question and a couple more comments. At the Joan Carr School, going from 300 and some to 700 and some, is part of that the enrollment coming from Bishop David Motuk?
Madam Chair, through to Trustee Ingle, you are correct. There's about 280 students that have been redesignated from Bishop David Motuk to Joan Carr. But the growth within kindergarten numbers is staggering right now as well. So there's over 120 students right now registered for kindergarten at Joan Carr. So that's a school that we still have room at, but we will definitely have to keep our eye on. And we're confident that as soon as St. Josephine Paquita is open, that we'll have some relief there in terms of space.
And if you don't have an answer to this question, we can certainly talk later. It just came to me as I was listening to your report. Well, first of all, in prefacing the question, I really want to thank you, Superintendent Fiacco, for the work you did and the timely response of your whole team for Bishop David Motuk. That was a really tough one to kind of get through as a trustee representing people that all had different needs and choices. Did we lose any student population with that? And again, if you would like to talk to me later, I'm just sort of wondering how it meshed out in the end.
Madam Chair, through Trustee Ingle, I don't have the numbers right here in front of me, but if I did a general look at how many students are going to be at Bishop David, add to it the number of students that have been relocated to Joan Carr and the surrounding West End communities, I'd be very surprised if we lost any students at all. But I can get back to you with
that's kind of, and yeah, that's kind of what I figured because I've talked to so many people on the phone and called them back and everybody found a home. So I thank you for that because your department has to work with really unique challenges because when Chief Superintendent Martin informs us of what the enrollment increase is and how many schools we're opening, you've got so much juggling to do. And I think that department's always had a lion's share of the work and the success of Edmonton Catholic, but now more than ever, because we have an infrastructure deficit everywhere. And so I really want to thank you and welcome the new team members. That's John's trick. He gets great new, young talent behind him. But thank you, Superintendent Fiacco, for the excellent work you do in very trying times in the Department of Planning, because you really do have to turn on a dime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Ingle. Joseph, if you have any connections with Alberta Ed, we need like 100 more schools. Next in queue is Vice Chair Tuchansky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So thank you very much for walking together. It is really, really great. It's an excellent initiative. And of course, we have the promise of new schools from the government, but I know we actually need the new schools and we need some modulars. And I hope we get them shortly because I believe that we're basically ready to pull the trigger on them. Do we not have designs and everything ready for our schools? So that's going to be some hard work for us going forward. But besides the needs, because of course we also need spaces for all of our students and our 100 Voices kids back, is the engagements that you guys do. It is a true engagement. I know I was part of St. Boniface. We've talked about that in the past. And that was lovely because I think everybody thought it was going to go in one direction, and in fact, it went entirely in another. And as a parent and as the trustee in the area, it delighted me because it goes to show you that you're not just doing it for the sake of doing it. You're actually doing it for the idea that you need something to come out of it that is true for the area and for that school. And of course, what's great about STEAM is that's going to roll right into Louis, which is their feeder school. So I love the idea of the planning and the foresight and all of that. So it's no surprise that we're going to see great results from this. And of course, the programs that are in Louis are remarkable too. So thank you for all of that. And I think the hockey program, though, is due to our recent grad from Louis and the success he's having these days. So Stewie. So, but again, thank you for your work. And it is true work. It is not sunshine up my skirt work. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Tuchansky. And, and thank you for picking up on that. The authenticity and transparency is extremely important and being noted. And Trustee Tiber, I saw that this is for him. So thank you. That being said, Trustee Mutala, you're next in queue. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Superintendent Fiacco, and your wonderful new team, and welcome, Joseph. I'm just so glad, with this report, every time I hear it, it makes my heart happy, and I'm so glad with all the good news and the success stories for many of our schools. So that's so wonderful. I'm glad that you brought up our utilization rate, and I'm glad you've improved our operating costs, enhanced learning environments, and all our programs in order to make our schools more viable. And I really appreciate the VIP program. So thank you for everything you've done and your team. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mutala. Trustee Tiber, you're next in queue. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is another area that makes our role of advocating easier. I was speaking to another MLA recently, and I was able to explain that we are balancing our utilization rates. We are allocating our resources. We are evaluating our programs for vitalization because of our walking together towards a glorious future. And this is the reason why we need new schools. So I was able to build a big picture around what our challenges are based on what we see constantly evolving from this to walking towards a glorious future. So again, I want to thank you for making our role easier, effective, very effective, because your excellent planning and programming and constant evaluation shows that we are an excellent division to be able to manage more schools because, well, A, we need them, but B, because we have the infrastructure built in to make sure it's successful. So again, I thank you for making our job advocating much easier.
Thank you very much, Trustee Tiber. And I'm going to piggyback off of something she said. Thank you for the handbill that we got, because when we went to ACSTA, we didn't just bring that advocacy document, we also brought this one, and this board uses it. So thank you very much for that. So that being said, Trustee Harris, you're next in queue. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just picking up off of what Trustee Tiber just said, yeah, it is extremely helpful to have the facts when you're talking with MLAs and to be able to drill down into, the rationale for the asks, right? And to do that in detail that is, verifiable and very solid. So that opportunity to have that kind of information when you're trying to advocate is just, otherwise it's kind of gut, right? But to have the facts, beautiful. You provide us with those, your team provides us with those, that is extremely helpful. I do want to applaud you on this, the perspective of your team, which is very proactive, very forward-looking. Forward-looking is one thing, but also forward-looking, and you have a track record, right? So it's not just, pie in the sky, it's not just the dream, right? But you guys have a really well-established track record of delivering on what you do, on what you, on your planning, right? And so, and not only delivering, but delivering at a very high level. So I want to express appreciation for that. As Trustee Tuchansky, Vice Chair Tuchansky mentioned as well, the quality of the engagement is extremely important. ensuring that the community comes along with us. We talk about this with the student, right? Meet the student where they're at. Well, in our case, as trustees, one of the things that we want to do is meet the community where they're at, understand where the community is, and have, very meaningful and authentic opportunities for input. And maybe the plans don't change, but maybe they do. But at least it's authentic. So that's extremely helpful. And what that all works towards, of course, is very prudent stewardship of our very precious resources. You mentioned how tight things are, and they're very tight. So we want to have a reputation with all our stakeholders that we are extremely prudent stewards of our resources, always focusing on the sustainable enhancement of our learning environments and our learning opportunities for the benefit of our students. I did have one thing that struck me, and it actually comes back to kind of all the background work that you do, and the saying, opportunity favors the prepared mind. Love the idea that we're always kind of out front, trying to understand what's cooking so that we can be ready to pounce. I think this building is a classic example of that, right? We were looking, we were ready when the opportunity was laid before us in the depths of COVID, right? When the real estate prices dropped like a rock, boom, we could be on it. And that kind of preparation helps us immensely. This is a foundation now that will serve us for the next 50 years, right? So, yeah. One question that I did have though was, I wonder if you could just expound a little bit on, I know that our engagement process is very robust. Could you expound a little bit on that engagement process, the way that some of the components of that engagement process?
Madam Chair, through Trustee Harris, we are very fortunate to now have Karen Garlitos, our engagement specialist within our department. So for each one of our, let's call them ideas or inquiries we want to do, we would consult with Karen, and she would develop an engagement plan in terms of a step-by-step process of how we get the message out to the community, when we would be meeting with them in person, what we would do with the information that we're gathering, where it would be posted. So it's a very robust and well-documented and publicly made available document that any citizen in Edmonton can get their hands on.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thank you for the question, Trustee Harris, and thank you to you, Superintendent Fiacco. Seeing no one else in queue, I take great pride in reading the recommendation for the record that the Board of Trustees acknowledges receipt of the Walking Together Towards a Glorious Future Report 2023-2024. Thank you very much to the entire team. And this now takes us to 4.1, Board Chair Report. And although the report is readily available, we'd like to highlight a few areas in the report, or my colleagues will never forgive me. I was told before the meeting even started, ensure that these things are mentioned. So in the report, it's already highlighted that on April 12th and 13th, the Board of Trustees presented the first annual Lumen Christi Student Faith Leadership Awards to students from trustees, giving trustees an opportunity to celebrate and recognize those students who enhance the Catholic identity of their community and serve as excellent Catholic role models for their peers. And so we thank the administration for making this possible, and of course to our board office and all of our support and all of the organizers for making this evening possible. As well, the board is extremely proud of the outstanding results from the division annual survey results conducted to engage stakeholders with respect to the quality of Catholic education. And I know Val Schlosser isn't here, but she always provides us with these percentages. And of course, they were the overall satisfaction rates reported by parent and guardian, student and staff were 86.6, 95.8, and 94.8 respectively. So of course, these superb satisfaction rates attest to the dedication and commitment of our administrators, our teachers, our staff, and our families towards providing an excellent Catholic education for our students. With the upcoming election, the Board of Trustees is committed to preserving and advancing publicly funded Catholic education, and I believe that Trustee Tiber always alludes to her interaction with the MLAs, as does the rest of the board. And it's, of course, there are important questions that our families have reached out to us and said, what is it that we can ask? when they come to our door. And so again, once again, we thank administration for ensuring that we have this at our fingertips so that we can advocate on behalf of our families and our division. That being said, we were also very fortunate this past year, and I'm going to credit Susan McCauley with this work, the opportunity to engage with our students. It's one that our board embraces. I believe Trustee Harris, you just made reference to that as well. And the Board of Trustees had the privilege to meet with our student voice, with our high school students, and there are student voice representatives from our high schools 5 times over the past year. And of course, it gives the board insight because these students are able to share what's important to them, and they bring the perspectives of their peers to the table. And so it was very successful. So thank you for that work. And finally, this is not part of the report, but on behalf of the board, we do want to share our deepest gratitude to you, Chief Superintendent Martin, for supporting, and of course, the entire division, for supporting the spectacular events that occurred this past week. Our long service awards, I know that, and I like what you said, our soon-to-be Superintendent Kennard, I just want to say Superintendent Kennard, but I'll follow your lead there. That was a spectacular evening. It was just so amazing to be able to be there as a board and be able to also thank the tremendous work of our staff because they're incredible. And as we said that night, they are the strength of Edmonton Catholic Schools. And then, of course, last night, well, you know, like last night, celebration of the arts. I don't even know if there are words to even explain it other than it was phenomenal. It was extraordinary. And, you know, we were sitting there and it seemed like we had been there for quite a while, but honestly, it was like 10 minutes. And we were watching and I could hear my colleagues around me, you know, giving the woohoos out there. But honestly, I would have paid, I would have paid big money to watch that performance. So thank you to all of you for, again, supporting our staff and our kids and for making that celebration come to life. So bravo to all. And with that, I'll read the recommendation for the record that but I do see trustees in queue. I'll read the recommendation and I'll turn it over to all of you. That the Board of Trustees acknowledges receipt of the board chair report on hashtag ECSD Faith Inspires March 17th to April 20th, 2023 for information purposes. Trustee Ingle, I do see you in queue. My apologies. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Just one question. How did you like the celebration of the arts, Madam Chair?
I know. Like, honestly, you know, but let's not even go there. Like, it was phenomenal.
It really was. And I just want to take this opportunity, and I'm sure my colleagues agree. I just feel compelled to say, because I spent many, many years as chairperson of this board and representing, especially this time of the year, the board at so many functions. I mean, it's just one after another after another. And I have to say that our chairperson, Chairperson Palazzo, does an exemplary job. She really raises the bar for trusteeship. And I'm proud to be one of her colleagues, and I'm proud for her to introduce me. And I do think that she deserves a round of applause because this time of the year, the amount of work she's done and the absolute stellar speeches, representation, it's out of this world. So thank you, Madam Chair.
We have a great board. Anyway, that being
we
said,
do.
yeah, thank you. Thank you, Trustee Ingle. And next in queue is Vice Chair Tuchansky. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do just want to say thank you. And the ones that actually for me resonate the most is the Faith Leadership Award. What an extraordinary opportunity that has been to award students that really follow their faith in the schools. It's not always easy. It's not always cool, but it's extraordinary to see that. And the joy that was there with the families and the kids, it was just astounding. And then to have it over 2 nights was just glorious. It was so delightful, and it was a true extraordinary event. The Long Service Awards, my goodness, so lovely. Again, I just, the joy this whole last 2 weeks has given me has been unbelievable. So, and the effort and work involved in both of those was really remarkable. So I'm grateful for that. And of course, the celebration of the arts last night, it was truly remarkable. The idea that you could actually captivate an entire Jubilee Auditorium for first period of an Oiler game, and actually have them wrapped with attention was unbelievable. And the transitions that were going on, I had no idea. I got sucked in every time. I was looking over here and then all of a sudden, wham, something was coming up here. So it was really, really unbelievable. And you're right, it went fast, fast, fast. But I also loved that they dedicated the evening to Phyllis Schaefer, right, the founder of the Celebration of Arts. So I love our program that, of course, our printing services did, and I love the dedication in the back. So I know you brought it up, but it was such an extraordinary. Yeah, I know the students. I know the whole thing. The front page, yes, Archbishop MacDonald School. We have such talented students. It is remarkable from what we had here to there. So what a gift we have. So thank you very much for that.
So you see what would have happened had I not acknowledged all of this?
been
So
in big
thank you
trouble.
very much, and thank you for listening. And that being said, next is 4.2 Chief Superintendent Report, and I will turn it over to you, Chief Superintendent Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so everything on my list has been mentioned this evening. So my recommendation is that the Board of Trustees acknowledges receipt of the Chief Superintendent's Report on ECSD Faith Inspires, April 2023, for information purposes.
Thank you, and that's going to be his gift to all of you. So that being said, Chief Superintendent Martin, as per usual, thank you. The commitment that you and the team and our remarkable staff, all of you, do to ensuring excellence in our division deserves more than applause. We just don't know what else we can say to you. But that being said, this is not a motion, and I take pride in reading the recommendation for the record that the Board of Trustees acknowledges receipt of the Chief Superintendent's Report on #ECSD Faith Inspires, April 23 for information purposes. And this now takes us to 5.1, closing prayer, and we'll turn it over to you, Vice Chair Tuchansky, to please lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tomorrow, Cardinal Leger Catholic Junior High School will be celebrating its 50th anniversary. And in honor of that, I'd like to dedicate our closing prayer to the school's namesake. The spiritual leader who for 17 years led the Archdiocese of Montreal, His Eminence Cardinal Paul-Émile Leger, is first remembered by Montrealers for his culture, his gift for preaching, and his remarkable enthusiasm. Only later did they discover the extent and the greatness of his work among the poor, the handicapped, and the lepers of the world. So together, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Generous God, we lift you to mercy that poverty which is a moral and social wound upon our country's soul. In your goodness, help us to heal this wound, like Cardinal Leger, by working to alleviate the suffering and pain of the poor. Give us open hearts that we might willingly share our gifts with others and follow Jesus in his own poverty and seek his face in the most vulnerable of our brothers and our sisters. God of bounty, your Son Jesus embraced poverty and taught that the poor are blessed, for theirs is the kingdom of God. Help us to step out of our certainties and comforts and keep our eyes fixed on him so we can both see and serve him in the faces of the poor. Through Christ our Lord, amen.
Vice Chair Tuchansky, that was a beautiful prayer. And Cardinal Leger is my school.
Yes.
You know what? You're never going to meet a board who doesn't love all of our schools as much as this board. So thank you very much for that. That being said, we are looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting, and I do recognize Trustee Ingle in queue. Give me 1 second, Trustee Ingle. Go ahead, please.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you very much. And if we could please call the vote. And we are all in favor. Motion carried. Everyone, please have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Oh, it's 5:14.